Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Govani Pachayine Nivishesha Shunivari Pasatari Shatarine Vanshakapa Tubasha Kripa Sanivevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pavanityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Go Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Deutsch ist okay? Ja, du verstehst Deutsch? You can try. Oder ich meine, ich rede auch gerne Englisch, so ist es nicht. Ja. Sollen wir auf Englisch machen dann, hä? Ist das okay? Ja? Also gut. Ist mir lieber. Naja, gestern Abend waren welche da, die mich wirklich gebeten haben, nicht auf Englisch zu reden und so, ne? Aber heute Morgen sind die nicht da. Ich hatte ja gehofft, dass die ganze Gruppe heute Morgen auch kommt, aber für manche ist das zu intensiv abends und dann gleich am nächsten Morgen weiter. Also heute wollen wir ja nicht die reguläre Bhagavatam Lecture haben, sondern wir wollen ja diesen Samstagvormittag dem heiligen Namen widmen, was man eigentlich sehr viel... Oh, hang on, I'm speaking German. Sorry. Yes, okay, back to English. Yes, so we want to dedicate this Saturday morning to the Holy Name. So therefore we will not have the regular Bhagavatam class. And actually we can say we should do this so much more often, that we really put some time aside where we really fully focus on the Holy Name and we try to park everything else. You know, of course, the most effective way to do this is to actually go in seclusion, to have a retreat, you know, then one can really leave all other things aside. You know, if we go for 2 or even 3 days into seclusion, I do this every year in Ekachakradam, outside of Mayapur. It's a very beautiful experience. Just being for 4 nights in Ekachakra in itself, that's such benefit, you know. And it's far enough to really leave away all the distractions and so on. And there is not such good network, which makes it even a better place for Holy Name retreat. So, but yeah, here of course we cannot quite, you know, create such a mood. But nevertheless, it hopefully will give some little inspiration, because unless we make this ongoing effort to actually get on deeper levels of chanting, one very easily, you know, stays on a more shallow, mechanical, you know, way of just rattling down one's rounds in order to somehow get them done. And this, of course, is not the idea. So this whole chanting of the Holy Name in Japa as well as in Kirtan is actually a very deep science and secret. Yes. And one has to make ongoing endeavor. You know, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Satatam Kitayantumam Yatantas Chadrita Vrata. So always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination. So this sincere endeavor is there in all aspects of devotional life, and definitely also in chanting the Holy Name. We have to make an ongoing endeavor. And it is so that, you know, any activity we do very regularly every day, or even any relationship we have very regularly, you know, we relate and associate very regularly every day, like in married life, very easily this phenomenon of over-familiarity sets in, right? Marriage relationship really is prone to that over-familiarity, meaning that we take each other lightly and cheaply, we lose respect for each other, and then we commit offenses and we treat each other like we would never ever treat any other devotee or even common person. But it's just my wife, it's just my husband, you know, and yeah. And same thing is also there in activities we perform very regularly. Even, for example, if we are on the altar every day doing puja, this can also become a mechanical routine thing, you know, that we forget what we are doing, we take things lightly and cheaply, we lose respect, and yeah, then we commit offenses. You know, even little details like offering our flowers to Prabhupada can become a very mechanical routine thing there. Okay, finished. Obeisances. That's it. You know? And we forget what we do. You know? If Prabhupada would actually be personally in his personal form living there, sitting there, then maybe we would have a different attitude when we do this, you know. Yes. Yeah, so this danger we find in all aspects of devotional life. Yeah, you understand everything. Okay, good. Yeah, so this is there in all aspects of devotional life, and especially also in chanting the holy name, you know, because hopefully we are all doing this every day. But yeah, it becomes easily some routine thing. And yeah, and I think we have to admit that, you know, in bigger cities like Cologne or any other big city in the world, there's actually so many meditation centers, you know? Almost on every street corner there is some yoga meditation place. Has become a very popular thing, especially in the Western world. And usually they are Mayavadi meditation techniques, you know, where we just want to empty our mind and, you know, look at the candle and whatever. But we have to shamefully admit, I think, that these meditation groups, they take their meditation so much more seriously than we do. You know, yes. When they meditate, they lock the door and they put the sign on, I'm meditating, don't disturb, and they sit there in lotus position and look at the burning candle and the Mayavadi music is going and you know, the whole thing, you know, yes. But we have the topmost meditation, which takes us to Goloka Vrindavan. You know, no other form of meditation takes us there. But we take it so lightly and cheaply, just walking around with our bead bag, I'm doing so many other things. You know, and we call this meditation. I mean, it's actually shameful to admit, I think. You know? Yes. And also another interesting point is that actually when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are actually coming on the level of Namabhas, the clearing stage, right? Because when we start chanting, we take this very seriously. Let me try this chanting. Okay, that's how I have to hold them. And okay, and we really, You know, I definitely remember myself when I tried this chanting the first time. It was quite something, and you know, I was almost a little wondering how will this work, and I was kind of a little, I didn't want anybody to hear that, you know, just some insecurities and all that. So I actually chanted under a blanket, you know, trying this chanting. You know, so this is actually Nama Bas. So, and then we have the two options. To either stay in Nama Bas and work our way up to Sushudanam, the pure chanting, or we can take the second option of going down to Nam Aparad, the offensive chanting. And again, I think we have to all shamefully admit that we take option number 2, you know, and we go down to Nam Aparad, and we accept so many bad chanting habits, right? Sometimes for years. And then to work our way out of that again and get up to Nam Abbas is a whole big effort, you know, because that's the problem. Once, you know, bad habits are established. So now we need some translation. Right? Lisa, möchtest du? Then Lisa, especially came. I asked her to come just in case we need some Russian translation. Oh yeah, see, there's a few more people coming. Okay, welcome. Thank you for coming. Yes. Yes, so once we have accepted these bad habits, it's so much struggle to kick them out again, you know, because we are so conditioned by habits. And actually this is the whole, one of the aspects of sadhana bhakti, you know, to get rid of all the bad habits and replace them with empowering and uplifting habits. So that's why we have all these rules and regulations, do this, don't do that, and, you know, it's all targeting this transformation, that we are meant to let go of our unfavorable habits and we accept favorable habits, you know. Yes, also one of Rupa Goswami's recommendations, you know, we should accept what is favorable and we should let go of unfavorable things. And this is a whole thing. It usually takes quite some time, some years, maybe even lifetimes. You know? So, and similar thing is there in chanting also. Ja, kommst du mit?
Ja, ich versuche bei der nächsten Einheit einzusteigen.
Okay. Oder soll ich lieber auf Deutsch?
Ich glaube, wir haben ja auch englischsprachige. Also mir passt beides.
Also gut. Und ich meine, wenn du simultan übersetzt, kannst du nicht warten, bis der Satz zu Ende ist.
Ja, ich war nur kurz die letzten.
Nicht so einfach. Ne, man muss, also es ist anstrengend. Also man muss hören und gleichzeitig reden, sonst verpasst man den Anschluss. Okay. Where was I? Yes, so these habits, you know. So, and same thing in chanting. We accept so many bad habits, and then to let go of them again is so much effort, right? So, but I'm often thinking, God, if we would train our devotees in chanting just like the Mayavadis train their, you know, people who want to learn the meditation, yeah, try and talk maybe a little quieter or sit more in the back there. Otherwise it disturbs those who want to hear in English. Yeah, so if we would make the same effort of training our devotees like the Mayavadis train their people who want to learn meditating, you know, then maybe we could save ourselves this whole thing that we go down from Naam Mabas to Naam Aparat and we hang around there for a while and then, oh, okay, I have to make some effort here and then work our way up again to Naam Mabas. You know, it's such a cumbersome detour, you know. So much better it would be if we immediately train people to chant the holy name in quality and not just quantity, because we put so much emphasis on the quantity. How many rounds do you chant? You know, that's always the main question. How many rounds? You know, but we don't really ask. So yeah, well, after breakfast we will talk about the empty capsule in chanting. You know, so we don't ask, so what medicine capsules do you take? Empty ones, full ones, or maybe even poisonous ones? They're also available. So we get to that later. I hope you will be all there after breakfast. Yeah, so that's my whole lamentation often, that I think, oh God, if we would just train our devotees right from the beginning, you know, and we would just not tolerate seeing devotees, you know, with a bead bag, shoveling things around or driving and all this kind of things. You know, it's kind of accepted as normal, you know. And I mean, sometimes when I know people, if I don't have a relationship with them, I don't even dare to do this. But if I have a bit of a relationship with people, then sometimes I tell them, hey, this is actually not how we should be chanting. And people almost get offended. Oh, who are you to tell me? You know, I've been chanting like this all the time. And, you know, false ego doesn't like to be corrected. But this is such a shame, you know? Yes. So this is why I like to conduct these holy name retreats wherever people have interest, and especially when young devotees come, I think, oh great, now maybe they start their whole chanting on the right footing, you know, and don't take, you know, these dives down to the offensive way of chanting, you know. Yes, so this over-familiarity is a big thing, and that's why actually if one really wants to get on deeper levels of chanting, I dare say one should regularly put either a whole retreat or at least some Saturday morning into one's life where one says, okay, let's park everything else. Holy name alone is everything. You know, like Kevalastikam, this beautiful bhajan, Harinam eva Kevalam, the holy name alone is everything. This is the repeated line there after each verse. And that's actually where we have to come to this conclusion eventually, you know, that really the holy name alone is everything. And why is it everything? Because at the moment of death, all the things which are now so important to us, they have absolutely no significance at all. Yes, you know, when our life comes to an end, curtain is closing, show is over, and the only thing which we are allowed to keep is my relationship with Krishna. And that comes out in our relationship with the holy name. You know, nothing else counts. This is a sobering realization, you know. Yes, yes. And this is eternal reality, you know. Everything else is just part of the nonsensical stage performance, as Prabhupada likes to call it, the crazy circus, Bezumnis Zirk, how we say in Russian. you know, the crazy circus, you know. But the eternal reality is my relationship with Krishna. And I think, was it Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one of them was making the statement, the only eternal things in this material world is the jiva and the holy name. You know? That's reality. And everything else is just part of the illusory nightmare here. You know? Yes. Yes, so that's why Harinam Eva Kevalam, the holy name alone, is everything, you know. And there's also a nice statement in the Bhagavatam where it says that a person who is just about to leave this world, his only wealth is religion. That's our only wealth, our connection with Krishna. So an intelligent person will invest into that wealth, because everything else will be taken away, you know, yes, mercilessly, you know, yes. And I mean, especially living in the city also, life is so fast, with so many distractions and duties, responsibilities, we get entangled, and that's why we need this regular reminder. Harinam Eva Kevalam, the holy name alone is everything. And our disease is that we do think there's so many other things which are more important than the holy name. That's the problem. That's our illusion we are stuck in, that we think, oh no, I have this, sorry, I can't come. You know, we place so many other things in our life as first priority, and then somewhere, you know, secondary or even last priority is, or last position is the holy name, you know. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. Yes, so as we have probably heard many times, actually Krishna and the holy name are non-different. Right? We've heard it all many times, but to actually realize is a different matter, you know. We may theoretically know it, but to actually realize, not so easy. But this is the amazing thing, that Krishna extends himself into the material world by giving us his holy name. This is actually quite amazing if we think about it more deeply, you know. Without that, we would have no chance to re-establish this lost and forgotten relationship if it wasn't for that, you know. So yeah, let's be very clear in this. Whether it's japa or kirtan, the principles are very similar. The reason why we chant is what? What's the reason why we chant?
To understand that Krishna is no different from the holy name. This is what I read.
Yeah, and what did you say? Yeah, to reconnect, to re-establish this lost and forgotten relationship. Because we have spent so many lifetimes in this world trying our best to ignore Krishna, you know? And the chanting is the way to re-establish that, you know? And we will discover this more after breakfast this morning. So that's the reason why we chant, you know? And it is described that chanting the holy name, you know, we can get the same benefit as meeting Krishna face to face. Wow. That is amazing, you know, if we think about it more deeply. I mean, we all know how important association is. So usually when our guru comes or any other sadhu, oh, we are so keen to associate and get some little glimpse of that personality, some smile, some encouraging words, some maha garland, whatever it may be. So we all know the importance of association. But here, chanting the holy name, we can actually get that same benefit as getting the personal, direct association of Krishna himself. I mean, that is quite mind-blowing, you know. But of course, it depends how we receive Krishna, right? We can imagine we invite our spiritual master to visit our home, and then when he comes, we turn our back to him, we ignore him, we have more important things to do now, our attention is somewhere completely else. So, I mean, probably he would just immediately turn around and leave. You know, what the hell is this? You know, what kind of reception is that? You know? So we can't even call such kind of reception association, right? Because we completely ignore and neglect his presence, you know? And we definitely would not get any benefit. In fact, we would get some reactions, most likely, for an offensive way of receiving a saintly person, right? So, and this same thing is happening in our spiritual life when we chant, you know, as a rule, unfortunately. You know? That's why, I mean, we all know there are 10 offenses to chanting the holy name. Sometimes we recite them here, and then it says there's also an 11th offense, which is, what's the 11th offense? To be inattentive while chanting. So, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this 11th offense is the root cause for all the other 10 offenses. So I'm the kind of person, I like to get to the roots of things. And for me, there's not even much point in even discussing the other 10 offenses so much in detail, unless we are clear and what the root cause of these 10 offenses is, you know? Because then we can try and, get to the root and avoid them at the root, rather than just cutting off the little twigs and leaves of the weed. Let's pull it out with the root. So, and that we can more easily do if we understand where these 10 offenses come from. So inattentiveness is the root cause for all the other offenses, you know. And we can say there is 3 levels of inattentiveness. There's the level of the body, there is the level of the mind, and what's the 3rd level of offense? Or inattentiveness, sorry. The heart, exactly. Body, mind, and heart. Sometimes people say soul or, you know, whatever, any other thing. But no, we can say body, mind, and heart. And actually, we can say these 3 levels are there in all service we perform, not only in chanting. That if we want our devotional service to actually transform our heart, which it is meant to do. You know, the process of bhakti is all about the heart. Externally, it may seem so easy, but no, once we, get a deeper understanding, it's not just chant, dance, and be happy and take prasad, but no, one actually has to do quite a bit of internal work to actually transform the heart. Yes, and if we want our devotional practice to transform the heart has to be involved, right? It makes sense, very logical. If the heart is not involved, it will not do anything for the heart, right? And in order to involve the heart, we have to start with being attentive on the level of the body and on the level of the mind, right? Yes. Otherwise, not much chance to be attentive on the level of the heart. So, and for example, even sitting here hearing, we have to be attentive on the level of the body, mind and heart. So body means we don't do anything else except things which help us to hear. You know, so if we make some giwiks or something, okay, or gerne, maybe fine. But if we are busy with other things here, mobile and this and that, and you know, then it's inattentiveness on the level of the body, right? Doing anything else while we hear. So, and then attentiveness on the level of the mind means that we don't allow the mind to engage in plan-making sessions and thinking about so many other things while we hear, for example, you know, even sitting here hearing, we can be completely inattentive on the level of the mind. Either falling asleep, well, that's miserable life, you know, or just thinking of so many other things and when is this finally finishing, I'm hungry and whatever, or what do I have to do today, and planning the next preaching program or shopping list or whatever it may be. Not much effect with such kind of hearing. Of course, something little the soul maybe capture, even though the mind is completely inattentive, but it will not transform the heart so easily, because the words are simply going in one ear, out the other ear, and bypassing the heart, you know, not much effect. So, and the heart being involved means that whatever we do, there cannot be any indifference. You know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this in Harinam Chintamani. He says, inattentiveness on the level of the body is laziness and sleep. Inattentiveness on the mind is distraction. And inattentiveness on the heart is indifference. No? Gleichgültigkeit. Indifference. Oh, well, you know, we can take it or leave it, okay, we're just sitting there, passing our time, you know. So, but being attentive in our example of hearing is that there is some eagerness. Rupa Goswami gives us this lolyam, you know, to be greedy for Krishna. If we hear with this mindset, maybe I can capture something here which will be useful for my spiritual journey, you know. If we hear with this keen eagerness, like a sponge sucking up every drop here, you know, then that's involving the heart, you know. Yes. So, and with this kind of hearing, obviously something will be transformed, right? And as I'm saying, these 3 levels of attentiveness is there in any service we do, whether this is cooking or cleaning or doing the puja, you know. We cannot be inattentive on the level of the body and also not on the mind. And heart means no indifference. Heart means we give our best, you know. We serve with heart and soul, giving our very best and meditating and planning and doing really whatever we can give, you know. Yes. So, and in chanting, of course, this is also there, these 3 levels of attentiveness, you know. And usually it starts the challenge starts with kicking out this inattentiveness on the level of the body, and this easily, even after a holy name retreat, easily it creeps in again, Yes, I'm speaking of personal experience. It creeps in again and again. And that's why we need this regular reminders, regularly dedicating half a day, full a day, a whole weekend to just the holy name, Yes, because it just creeps in. So, and it basically means we do so many other things while we chant, Since we don't have so much time, I will not be too interactive here. But the list is long, chanting while shopping, checking out the market, while driving. Oh, now we have the clicker, so this makes it even more convenient, to do something else while we chant. We don't have to fiddle around with the beat back there. But let me ask, do we have anybody here who has the habit of chanting on a clicker sometimes? I hope that after this, not only morning session, but early morning session, but the whole session until 1 o'clock, you will be ready to throw away the clicker, into the Rhine. Swaha, get rid of it. Yes, this clicker chanting is the easiest way to cultivate inattentive chanting. Because you don't even have to finish one round. You can click here and click there with left hand, right hand, dirty hand, doesn't matter. It's stainless steel, Yes, if we cannot chant on the beads, it's the wrong time for chanting. Yes. I was told, one personality, I'm not sure if I should say his name, he mentioned that clicker chanting is demoniac. Heavy statement. Yeah, because it really leads to, complete offensive chanting. Let's be clear on this. Yes. Better not to use it. So of course sometimes people say, well, but Prabhupada said we should chant 24 hours a day. So does that mean we should not chant while driving and cooking and doing this and that? No, of course, that's extra chanting. But our prescribed number of rounds, 16 or whatever it may be, even if people chant only 10 or 8 or whatever, doesn't matter, it's fine, it's good, But this prescribed number of rounds which we want to chant, they should be chanted with undivided attention, not doing anything, on the beads. And any other chanting is extra while we drive, cook, go shopping, this, that. That's extra chanting. Doesn't even have to be counted. It's extra. No need to count. Because if we count, then the crooked mind and intelligence easily tells us, oh, actually, I have already chanted so many rounds while I was shopping, cleaning, doing this, that. So just not to tempt us to fall into this trap, no need to count it, even not on a clicker. Because sometimes people say, yeah, it's just for the extra. I'm not sure if I want to trust that, that it's just for the extra rounds, because easily we cheat ourselves and we say, oh, actually, let's have a look, how many rounds did I chant on the clicker, divided by 108. Oh, yeah, no problem, I'm doing fine, Yeah, so that's the point. 24 hours a day chanting, yes, we should, but our 16 rounds, undivided attention, not doing anything else, Yeah, so, but the list is long, 2 devotees meet, We have the hand in the japa bead bag, chant, and then while I say something, the other person is chanting a few mantras. Then I get the answer, and I squeeze in a few mantras while that person chants. And if we get a long answer, then we can squeeze quite a few mantras in. If the answer is just a yes or no, oh, what a shame, only one mantra. So like that it goes back and forth, you know, quite a common thing, you know, yes. Or the biggest distraction is the mobile phone, you know. Oh, I see it all the time. Or people have the phone next to them while they chant. Then as soon as there's some noise coming, they take up the phone. And thank God I have that finger here, you know, to scroll up and down and answer a quick thing there. Must be Krishna's arrangement for Kali Yuga, you know. Yes. Such a distraction. That's why I don't have a phone. I live without a phone. And I'm very happy like that. Of course, sometimes it's inconvenient and I have to borrow phones, and booking tickets is getting more and more difficult without a phone. I can't even use my Visa card anymore, you know, and so on. But anyway, I rather tolerate that than, you know, surrendering to having a phone. No, I don't want to have a phone, you know. And people get so attached to the phone. Like in this Ekachakra Holy Name Retreat I request people to hand in their phones to me. People can't even separate from their phone for 3 days. You know? Yes. I mean, last retreat, 3 or 4 people gave it in out of 50, you know. Yes. Only 3 or 4 out of a group of 50 people, you know. Yes. But some said they will switch it off, but yeah, I saw they didn't, you know, not for the whole 3 days. But then if you're actually separating from your phone for the whole time, then we have a chance to actually enter a different reality. And it's really like that, especially Ekachakra, you enter a different reality. Yeah, and that's very powerful. And every time when I come back to Mayapur, takes me about 2 days to settle back into, you know, the outside world, you know, even though it's also the holy Dham, but yeah, you know. Yeah, so if you can switch off your phone until lunch, that would be good, you know, not quickly looking and everything can wait till 1 o'clock. What's the problem? You know, everything can wait. Harinam eva kevalam, holy name alone is everything. You know, so everything we can park, you know, and just fully try to focus on the topic of the holy name, you know, that would be beneficial, you know. Yeah, so the list is long, you know, so many ways of inattentive chanting, watching something on the screen while we chant, or you know, doing so many things, even reading, even if it's the Bhagavatam, you know, but we can only do one thing, either reading or chanting. So behind this inattentive chanting on the level of the body, there is this mood of maximizing our time, you know. We want to maximize our time. I still got 8 rounds left. Let me chant them while I do something else, just to get them done, you know. Yes. Or passing the boring japa time in a more pleasing and pleasant way, you know. Even going for walks, after breakfast we will do a chanting exercise, which makes it a bit clear, hopefully, that even when we go for beautiful walks and the birds and the bees and the flowers, you know, it is distracting. Our relationship with Krishna is so fragile at this point. It is not firmly established. And therefore even a butterfly or a bird distracts us immediately. Whereas Prabhupada, he was in a different reality. You know, his reality was my relationship with Krishna. That was his reality. And everything else was just the crazy circus here. You know? So he could chant on morning walks or sitting on the plane and this and that, you know. But we are not there yet. Our relationship is hardly at all established. So, and this shows in our fear of death, you know. If our relationship with Krishna would be firmly established, we would not be fearful of death. No, we wouldn't. Then death would be finally that glorious opportunity to get out of here and join Krishna, you know, in his divine abode. He's been waiting for us for so many lifetimes. So what's the problem? You know? But our problem is that we are clinging on to the temporary relationships around us, and our relationship with Krishna is hardly at all established. That's why we want to stay here by hook or by crook a little bit longer. You know, one more year. Let me find some healer who can cure me or something, you know. Yes, and behind that, definitely it reflects, you know, that our relationship with Krishna is practically not established, you know. Yeah. And I mean, Kadambakala Swami nicely demonstrated this, you know. He was firmly fixed, so let's go home, back to Godhead. And, you know, he didn't run after some cures or something. He just accepted that my time is up and, you know, got ready to leave, you know. So that's actually how we should be leaving in one sense, you know, unless we have a really good reason why we have to continue here or something, you know. Yeah, so this inattentiveness on the level of the body. Well, yes, now let's include the inattentiveness on the level of the mind. But yes, even, you know, our attitude of maximizing our time comes in, for example, also when we sit in a class in the back and we chant our japa. You know? Yes, I had this even in a holy name retreat, you know, and then if I'm lucky at the latest at this point, people put the beads away, you know. We can only do one thing. Either we hear attentively or we chant, you know, but again there's this mood, I want to be at the class and I still have these rounds, so why not do both? Then I don't miss out on the class and I get these rounds done, you know. So that's the mood. Or in kirtan, same thing. We sit in a kirtan and we chant our japa in the back. You know, what the hell is this? You know, yes, we can only do one thing. But yeah, we don't want to miss out the kirtan and, these rounds. Let me maximize out my time and I get both done, you know. This habit we should kick out of our life, you know, these habits. So, and then of course the biggest challenge, or not the biggest, but one of the major ones is the attentiveness on the level of the mind. Because the mind is just so distracted with so many things. Mind likes to make plans, you know, and we plan so many things. And we may be sitting there, you know, very nicely, but the mind can carry us all over the universe, you know. Or we engage in these monologues and dialogues, or he said, she said, and things go round and round in our head. This is actually always a sure sign that the false ego takes us for a ride, you know. Yeah, this is an interesting point, that once we understand more deeply how the false ego affects us, we realize that our inattentiveness in chanting is actually not ending with the uncontrolled mind, but behind the mind is the false ego. And the false ego uses the mind and intelligence as tools to get its gratification. So very often, what we think is the mind, behind that the false ego is hiding. And whenever we find ourselves in the situation that something is going in circles in our head and we just can't drop it and let go of it, it's a sure sign for the false ego taking over and torturing us. And this sometimes also takes place in japa, especially if we make this mistake to check something on our email or WhatsApp or whatever, and there may be some challenging thing there, message, and then, we are lost for our japa, Then in our japa, the whole thing goes around and around in our head, and I'm going to respond to this, and blah, 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 and then they shouldn't talk like this, and blah, and. So, false ego is, agitated and giving us a hard time there, Yes. Yeah, so the mind is a big distraction, And we will get to this after breakfast, because His Holiness Satyananda Swami, he always says, we should not get caught up in a boxing match with the mind. Because very easily this happens. Because sometimes we hear this question, so what to do if the mind is wandering? And then the standard answer is, pull it back and hear. Which is all very good and fine, but it's not everything. The solution is to involve the heart. We will discover this after breakfast. Yes. So, if we don't involve the heart, and we just pull it back in here, and then for 2 or 3 mantras it will work, and then boom, the mind takes us again, pull it back in here, wanders, pull it back in here. So that's the boxing match with the mind. That will not get us anywhere, really. The secret is to involve the heart. And that will bring the mind to peace. And actually there is also a nice statement of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, make your chanting heart deep, not just lip deep. Very nice. Heart deep. That's what it's all about. Bring the chanting of the holy name to the level of the heart. Not just lips and mind, and because sometimes people have all these techniques of staring at a Maha Mantra card and all these things. All right, if it helps the individuals, okay, there is room for individual, method, what helps us, but no, the real secret is to involve the heart. So if our staring on the Maha Mantra card helps us to involve the heart, then okay, fine. But if it doesn't do that, it's still pretty useless, actually. Sorry to say. Yes. The heart has to be involved. Yes. So that's why the attentiveness on the level of the heart is the most crucial level of attentiveness. Yes. The most important, because only if the heart is involved, as we said, then it transforms the heart. And we will discover that a certain peace of mind is actually necessary to involve the heart. I have observed this also in my own life. If there's too many things I have to work out and too many issues, and then very difficult to really involve the heart. But if things are without issues, then much easier. Yes. Yeah, so this is the level of the body and mind. So I do want to start at 10:30 with the level of the heart, to introduce that. And basically, I mean, even in 3-day holy name retreats, I unpack the whole topic of level of the heart. Yeah? Yeah. So today we have only 2.5 hours after breakfast, but I hope it will give us something, to work on and so on. So we have 5 minutes left until breakfast. Let me see if we have any questions just about what we discussed. Not, so what is the attentiveness on the level of the heart or something, because that we all talk about after breakfast. Yes, Mataji.
Oft schlafen die Devotees ein, während das Japa wieder um. Was ist das für eine, also welche Offense, zu welchem Offense gehört das?
Yes, so.
Und wie kann man das
Okay, so in English, often people fall asleep when they chant, and what level of offensive is that, and how can we avoid it? Well, it's the inattentiveness on the level of the body, I mean, you imagine your guru comes and you fall asleep. Great. What a great reception, So we call upon Krishna to appear and then we fall asleep. I mean, what is this? Yeah, it's inattentiveness on the level of the body. That's also what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, laziness and sleep. And well, for me, if I feel, I'm sleepy in japa or even in hearing the class, and the last couple of days I could detect this in myself, so this is for me a sure sign I didn't get enough rest. So that's why I wasn't there for Mangaladi today, because yes, if I fall asleep in japa or class, for me it means I didn't sleep enough, yes. So, and I personally have to make sure I get enough sleep. I've had cancer 2 times. My immune system goes down if I don't get enough sleep. So, and Prabhupada said health comes first, by the way. Then comes chanting, then comes service, and then comes reading. Interesting. So health comes first. But of course it shouldn't be an excuse to miss every Mangaladi. So we may need a mentor, a counselor who tells us, are we just lazy and can't get up? We are just too much in tamaguna? Or, is it justified to miss sometimes a Mangaladi or something, Yeah, so that's my personal way of dealing with this, that I make sure I take rest early, and there also a serious sadhaka, if the holy name becomes so dear to us, we don't want to waste time in the evenings doing all kinds of things, just chatting on Facebook there or WhatsApp and this and that. No, we take rest early. This is one of the main secrets of success, to take rest early, and that means ideally not much after 8. That's my favorite time of taking rest, taking rest at 8, and definitely not after 9, So then we are fresh. Yes. But in any case, if we are in this situation, so then definitely not to remain seated, but just stand up, walk up and down. Sometimes people have this idea that walking up and down is unacceptable chanting, but no, even Prabhupada was pacing up and down. Shrutakirti Prabhu tells this in his books, yes. So there's nothing wrong with walking up and down. But we can maybe say, and again I experienced that in my own life, I observed that walking up and down often indicates that there's a certain restlessness there, you know. And if you can actually sit and chant, it doesn't have to be necessarily like that, but it can be like that, that you actually can focus more, you know. Yes. But then again, you know, it is an individual thing, you know. And some people can just focus better when they move, you know. So, yes. And I mean, I've once come across some statement from the secular world that when you know, sometimes when people are on the phone and they have some intense discussion, they also walk up and down. And it is said that it actually increases the blood circulation and you can think better. So, you know, yes. So taking that into account in our chanting, so maybe it increases the blood circulation there and we can actually focus better, you know. So, yeah, there's different sides to it. But definitely when we are sleepy, my God, get up, you know, and walk up and down. So, yes. But also devotees have to make sure that they get enough rest, which ideally means take rest early. Don't stay up to 10, 11 o'clock. Then, of course, the focus on the holy name is already lost. And if we really look in our lives, what do we do after 8 o'clock? Usually it's just some stuff on the internet. You know? If there was no internet, people wouldn't even know what to do after 7 or 8 o'clock. You know? But they're just passing or even wasting their time with some pujalpa, as we discussed yesterday. You know? With some unnecessary things, you know? Yes. So it means to really put the holy name in the center of our life. It requires a whole lifestyle. We have to mold our life around the holy name and Bhagavatam being the center. That's what it means. By the way, that's what it means, Grihastha Ashram. I'm just now in the process of printing this book. Yeah, I just sent it 3 days ago to the printer. Family Life as an Ashram, Secrets of Success. And there I'm spending quite a bit of time with this, you know, explaining what lifestyle we have to adopt to make our family life an ashram. And holy name and Bhagavatam, you know, this is then our life is an ashram, a place conducive to spiritual life. You know? Yes. That's what temple life is arranged like. That, you know, Bhagavatam is an important thing. Holy name, important thing. Mangaladi, you know? Yes, is an important thing. You know? So, and only if these things are important for us in our family life, then we can call our family life an ashram. Otherwise, it's some mixture, you know. Yes. Yeah, so we have to adopt a whole lifestyle conducive to chanting, which means taking rest early, getting up early, and we can only do this if we don't have a big meal in the evenings, you know. Yes. You know, if we load our belly with all kinds of yummy prasadam there at even 6, 7 o'clock, will be more difficult to get up. So a serious sadhaka will only take 2 full meals. An evening, just a little snack just to pacify the mind, you know, just some soup some soup or hot milk or an apple or whatever it may be, but not a whole big meal, you know. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so it requires a whole lifestyle, you know. Any other quick question? Yes.
You said when we have issues going on in mind and then we are not able to focus, especially not with the heart. So in samsara, issues are going to be there always. How can we tackle it?
Well, yeah, you heard it. You know, I was saying that we can easier involve the heart when there's not too many issues on the mind. So, but there is always issues, so what to do? Well, I mean, this is, to my understanding, one reason why Prabhupada gave us this formula of simple living, high thinking. Because if we actually have simple living in our life, then there's less issues, less issues. But if we make our life so complicated, with so many ambitions and things and, or we create miseries in our life by doing things not according to Krishna's recommendations, whatever reasons it may be. So, well, then we also face all kinds of challenges and miseries, So that's why, the Shastra, Prabhupada said, his books are the law books for the next 10,000 years for civilized humanity. If we actually would be open to accept these advice, and of course we may have missed our chance and done some things before we came to Krishna consciousness or something. But yeah, if we live according to Krishna's recommendations, then there will be less issues, definitely, But our problem is always that we think, our system, our modern system is better than Krishna's system. And Krishna's system is outdated and old-fashioned. And all right, we like Krishna, but we may not like his system. So, and, then we get all these disturbances in our life, that's the whole issue. And it makes it more difficult to actually peacefully chant, definitely, yes. Yes, but, well, ISKCON is only 50 years old. It's not surprising that all these things are not yet applied, This is my humble approach and mission in my humble preaching efforts, that I'm not just satisfied describing Krishna's instructions, but how do we live it? How do we apply it? And we are not there yet, definitely not. Definitely not. We are still on step number 1, just hearing and assimilating the instructions, repeating them, quoting them, but to put them in practical life, that's our second challenge, and especially being surrounded by a culture which propagates the opposite. It's a challenge, Again, it requires a whole transformation there of tastes and likes and dislikes and habits and lifestyles and not so easy. Just for those who don't know, I have published a few books and I will put them on the windowsill there for the second session, just in case somebody is interested. And 2 of the books are also available in Russian language. I especially got them all the way from Ukraine, from Kharkov. They sent the books over just so I can show them to you. And they only came, when did they come? Yesterday, was it? Yes, yesterday. Just in time. Yeah, so I hope that some of you may have some interest. And this one book called The False Ego, Our Constant Companion and Troublemaker, this has a whole chapter on chanting the holy name in it. It's like a summary of a holy name retreat in there. Because false ego and holy name, they're very connected. Because if we chant with the right mood, it helps to dissolve the false ego. But on the other hand, things like kirtan can be the opportunity to feed and boost the false ego. Yeah, so we have to be careful. We have to be careful and be conscious of all these subtle things, Yes. Okay, so let's finish for now, and we'll meet back here, please, at 10:30. Okay? Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Swami Vedabhaktivinoda ki. Oh, Priyamana.